video and make sure that other people can see it, because what I'm about to speak about is really, really, I think very important that Black people hear this, for not just here but all over the nation as well. So I'm streaming it live on Facebook. I mean on YouTube, and now I'm sharing it on my live as well, so you guys can go and watch it from my live as well. All right, for those who don't know, my name is Cy Smith. I'm the founder of National Block Club University. Our whole focus is block by block organizing around this violence that continue to devastate and create trauma in our community. So right now, this is the last day of the fourth quarter, the last day of the first quarter. So literally 3 hours and 40 minutes from now, we'll be into the second quarter. What that means for us is January, February, March typically is Black people in hibernation mode still. Black people mindset being easier to engage, especially toward the February, March timeframe, because January, the reality of all the debt some of us accumulated during this the fourth quarter December holiday. So anyway, the first quarter is a good visual gauge on how the rest of the year is going to look for us. Then you get the second quarter, which is when people are eager to get outside. They're eager to travel and go places. This pre-COVID, what I'm telling you about, COVID just made it times 10. So second quarter typically is a strong quarter for us to recruit and get new people on board. Third quarter is the super busy quarter. So everyone is going to family reunions, vacations, traveling, summer breaks, all of that. So it's hard to anchor people down. We see most violence during this quarter. Then the fourth quarter, so April, May, and June is the second quarter. July, August, September is the third quarter. And also in the third quarter is back to school rallies, block parties, and all this stuff. Fourth quarter is October, November, December. That's when people get going into hibernation. People get darker earlier, and then people getting ready to spend money for the holiday. So that's typically where we at. In my 26 years of organizing in some of the toughest environments, especially Chicago, you had to have certain times to capture the minds of people, and knowing that the first quarter is ideal and the second quarter. Fourth quarter is very hard. It's getting dark, people in hibernation mode. Third quarter is so much going on that you really catch me if you can. So the hard truth is this: Black people, especially right now with the pandemic, stimulus money being out there, unless I get a request in the next 3 hours, this will be the first time in my history of doing this work, 26 years, that no one requested help from us. And this is fascinating to me, but I have a assumption that it might be because of so much money stimulating the economy right now that people haven't called asking for help. And that's help from my house burned down. We need help from, someone car was, illegally booted. They need help. Just no requests have come in for help. And that's there's pros and cons to everything with that. So anyway, when you think about the status of Black people, the shape we're in this country, I want to be very clear that what's happening right now, especially with the Asian hate that's being publicized by the media, the illegal immigration, that our issues are still the same, but it's not important to others. All right. And our position here and in the continent is one that we have to be very, very conscious that in order for Blacks to do well and to pool resources together and do for self, that there are people who are not going to benefit from that and who will actually be harmed by that. And so you guys heard me say BLANG, BLANGCC versus BBLCD. And BLANG is all the groups who need Blacks to stay doing their own thing, DMONT, doing my own thing. And they need us to stay in our silos. And I'm gonna talk about who we target, National Block Club University, who our target audience is, because I think that's important. So BLANG is beauty supply stores owned by the Asian community. liquor stores owned by the Arab community, apparel stores owned by the Arab community, nail salons owned by the Asian community, gas stations owned by the Arab community, the GCC corner stores owned by the Arab community, cell phone stops owned by the Arab community. If blacks were to run our own businesses under blame, it will hurt them, because not only is this a Chicago problem, it's a Memphis problem, it's a Detroit problem, it's a Milwaukee problem, it's a St. Paul, Minnesota problem, it's a Kansas City, Missouri problem, it's a Miami problem, it's an Atlanta problem. There's a national, international effort that has been taking place where others around the world know that the US model is blacks are in isolated neighborhoods. You can go to the black neighborhoods where property values are probably going to be the least and the people are not as organized, so you can infiltrate and build up. All right, it's just reality. I'm only 40, 46. I didn't create this. This is already, it is what it is. We just sharp enough to call it what it is, identify it and call it what it is. And so that's what I'm doing now. So anyway, knowing blame hurts us every single second, because Chinatown, Greektown, Little Italy keep their dollars circulating. Money circulation is akin to blood circulating in your body. Blood carries oxygen. You need it to circulate. A blood clot can cause death. We have clots in Black America where other groups are taking the money out of our neighborhood. So the US has to come up with an exit strategy for the exploitation of Black neighborhoods all over America. What would these other groups do if they can't run businesses in Black neighborhoods? Like, what's the plan for them? They should have a way to earn money. We just want ours to be like other cultures where they have a base and they keep their money inside their base, at least some of the money. Not saying 100%, but right now it's way crazy. So anyway, that's that. BBLCD is barbershops, beauty salons, it's lounges, car washes, and daycares. Those are the predominantly still Black controlled businesses in our community. Every Wednesday is Economic Day. That's what today is. We want you to name your 4 Black businesses you support it. So that's kind of BBLCD is like our base that we should be building from, but it's so much division with our barbershops and beauty salons where they are not coordinating together as best as we would like for them to do to springboard into the Black restaurants, Black funeral homes. Those are the other 2 strong Black industries in Black America. So having said all that, we're $1 trillion people. We should remember that. And when we pull that together, we're going to be on fire. Now, I've been doing this work for a long time, and people say, well, Si, why we don't see what we see with other organizations? Why we don't see success? And I want you guys to just take this from a military veteran that I've chosen to organize horizontally. And I want to explain that to you so you guys know what that means. You can organize vertically or horizontally, all right? When you hear about issues, safety, violence, education, school closing, those are vertical issues. They're vertical, meaning they're singular in nature. That's education, that's economics, that's safety, okay? So when you have a singular issue, me and my wife have our own perspectives. My wife don't care about the safety part. I do. My wife cares about the creative side. So just know that even in households, people have their own silos and their own vertical issues that's important to them. And that's life. There's no change in that. So just know for 26 years, we've chosen to organize horizontally. What is horizontally? That's capacity. All right. So when people say, Si, you've been doing 26 years, I don't see what you won't see it because we're moving east and west. You only see what's vertical, north and south. You don't know what's underneath the soil. So my point is, I want to make sure that people know why we've chosen to move horizontally instead of moving vertically with an issue. You know, the typical traditional way is get one issue, focus on that issue, make it a big deal, get everyone on board, and then go to the next issue. I'm a military veteran, and I'm gonna say this to you, that is the total opposite of what I think we needed to do as a people. We need people to be passionate, to execute on whatever their passion is. but just know the difference between issues and organizations fighting for issues and what we do in terms of building capacity. Here's a one way of looking at it. If I knock on your door and I'm organizing in the community and I'm trying to get help with the school closing, that's an issue. That issue either resonate or it don't. All right. Either I care about that issue of education or I don't. And if I care about it, then I'm gonna come on board. If I don't care about the issue, I'm gonna say I wish you well. I'm too busy. Okay. With us, because we chosen to organize horizontally, meaning capacity, we knock on the door. We want to know what is it that you do. So it's a difference. When you organizing around vertical, which are issues, you're going to the people with an agenda. Our organizers go door to door based on your zip code. We don't go nowhere that is not a targeted zip code. We going door to door to find out about you and what's important to you. Totally different scenario. So when you build a capacity, you have CAPS, Chicago Alternative Policing, out marching about stopping the violence. CAPS aren't going, they're not knocking on doors to get to know residents. The residents sitting on the porch looking at them like a circus, parading around. But our organizers are going up on that porch and finding out, hey, in this house, you got 3 third graders, you got 2 12th graders, you got a husband that's a carpenter, your sister's a niece. We're asking these questions because we've built something. And what we've built is this horizontal system that we have something for any type of person. Have something for those in business, so those in construction, those into food, those into legal and policy, those into safety, those into education, those into race relations. So we built this. So whenever we engage a person, we find out what they care about, then we plug them into that horizontal plane of who else cares about what they care about. So that's why you don't see what we do. Like you don't almost ever hear us talking about a news conference. Because what they go put on the news that we go door to door, find out about people, that's not newsworthy. But when you have issues, that's when you see people calling press conferences and news conferences because they have an issue, a vertical issue that they want brought attention to. So I'm not condemning that. I just want to make sure that you can separate and know the difference between what we do and what issue-based structures and people are doing. So who do we target? We target, because I get calls all the time, Sad, I need you to meet this superstar. They doing the same thing. They doing this. What they're doing is an issue. That's what they're doing. And I would meet with anyone and everyone, because when we meet activists or issues, the key is with activists and issues, they are in a silo. This is what they care about. And hopefully they stay on target with that. What I would do when I meet them is find out what that issue they care about is. Then I'm gonna go to the horizontal structure and I'm gonna pull out the people who care about the same issue they care about. And we're gonna connect them so that they got reinforcement or they got layers of support. That's what we do, because we can't get caught up in no one issue, because if we do, then we alienate and lose our leaders who care about the opposite of that issue. So for activists, is we never target activists to work with, because activists are focused. And that's a positive way of saying it. They're focused. And when they're focused, the chances are they're not going to see value or as much value in what you do, because they are focused. Either you're on board with what they're doing or they keep it moving. And so our target is more than likely rational, mature mindsets. Rational, mature mindsets. When you're young, generally, you're still exploring the world. So, we can support that, but that's not our target. It's more, that mindset is more who we support versus who we expect to onboard and help us expand horizontally. So our target is mature, so typically older people, and rational. They understand. They've been around the block. They've seen they seen startups, people come real hard, then fizzle out. They seen that. So they understand that it's the long game and not the short game. So that's who we normally target for leadership. Now, the younger generation is good in spots because they still learning, they still exploring. changing their views and whatnot. So the younger generation, our role is to give them layers of support, LOS. That's what we do with the younger people, get them LOS and tap into their network. That's what the younger people do. And the daily living habits allow us to be structural with them when it comes to that. The activists, our role with the activists is to help them fundraise and get money for whatever it is that they're siloed in doing. That's how we work with that population. But when you see our leaders who we've been with 20 years, 15 years, those are those more mature, rational mindsets, people who get it, that is bigger than one thing. So when you go door to door, you're pretty much saying, ignore your issue, place place my issue at the top of your schedule. And if you don't do that, then we go keep it moving. That's what happens when we go door to door, informing the community of our issue. Because if that person door you knock on don't care about right now the closing of schools, but their son is being recruited to join a clique, that's a safety issue she has. But you talking about the schools that don't go together. And our organizer taught, once we find out what they're dealing with, then we go back to the horizontal plane and find out what it is that can help that mom with her son who's being challenged at the time. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys know the horizontal plane, which is capacity building, is why it's taken us 26 years to establish. And I'm telling you, it is a work of beauty to have people from coast to coast, North and South, Mississippi coming home real strong now, and then Africa doing this thing. So very, very shortly this year, I believe we're going to see all of these horizontal relationships come together, and it's going to be a beauty, a thing of beauty. So what we can expect to be different, what we can expect to be different in everyday life for Black America and all of our allies is not being so tense, not being so worried, not being so feeling isolated. Those are the emotional intangibles that is going to come this summer, preferably in the third quarter. We should start to see this, and having fun. So right now we see a lot of people traveling, and travel is therapeutic. I get that, but they're traveling to have fun. Cool. Everyone need recreation. We call it WRT, work, recreation, and training. But we want people to also travel to learn and travel to network. A lot of our people who came to Miami for spring break, they probably couldn't tell you what Liberty City is or Overtown is. And so they stayed in one section. It was all about having fun. That's cool. But you are under attack, and you are under a threat of a lot of people benefiting off of taking money out your community and letting your community continue to go down. And so for you to go and have fun, that's recreation. What about the work and the training to turn our neighborhoods around? So I just want to make sure people know, with the horizontal plane we've built in every city, we have a list of Black businesses in every city. So when you're traveling, those businesses is how we can keep Black dollars circulating. Remember, we're $1 trillion people. So you travel to Memphis, here's the Black businesses in Memphis. You travel to Detroit, here's Black businesses. And because we're integrating it, your dollar continue to circulate and empower our communities, no matter where you are in the country. So that's a big part of it. And your dollar, the $12 a year, the $1 a month, what that's doing is allowing us to create jobs, keep money circulating in our community. So I just wanted to put this on record so you guys will know the key thing is, the hard truth is, a lot of our activists and leaders are really focused. And when they're focused, unless you're doing the same thing or similar, they can't even hear you or entertain you. My dream would be, especially with our activist community, that they would see value in the horizontal capacity building, not just fighting issues, but capacity building. And they would say, what do you need? You need $12, here go 12. I got 10 members, here go $120 for all 10 members, because I see the value of you going door to door, meeting people who might want to plug into what we do. Unfortunately, a lot of our activists and silo mindsets is all about what they're doing. They don't see value in the horizontal capacity building, door to door, block to block. We're not worried about that because we're targeting those more mature, rational mindsets, not the focused spirits. My number is 312 312-405-8844. That's 312-405-8844. Stay strong. Peace.